Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Adamoose, and today in this series called In Depth, I'm going to be breaking down everything that you need to know about Talon Jungle.
Another body for the gutter.
Talon is a mobile assassin that has historically been a top tier pick in the mid lane. Recently, Riot has made him a powerful jungler, completely turning the meta on its head. If you enjoy the content, it really helps me out if you could leave a like and comment on the video to help your boy out with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to talk with me and other members in the community that are looking to improve, be sure to join the Discord link that's in the description. I hope you guys can learn something. Enjoy the video. Abilities. Let's jump right into how Talon's kit works and some tips and tricks to take your game to the next level. Talon's passive is called Blade's End. Talon's abilities apply wound stacks to enemy champions and large monsters hit for 6 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Auto attacks and damaging abilities will also refresh this duration. When a target has 3 stacks, Talon's next basic attack will consume the stacks, causing them to bleed, dealing massive physical damage over 2 seconds. This damage is increased against monsters, which is one of the main reasons why Talon can clear single target camps very quickly. Talon's Q is called Noxian Diplomacy. Talon dashes toward the target enemy, dealing physical damage upon arrival. If Q is casted within close range, Talon instead stabs his target, critically striking them as well as gaining bonus attack range on his next basic attack. Using your Q as a stab in melee range also resets Talon's basic attack timer, greatly increasing your DPS if you use it correctly. If Noxian Diplomacy kills its target, Talon heals and refunds 50% of this spell's cooldown. This is ideal to use when farming. This ability has 2 main uses, gap closing and burst damage. What's most important to note is that if using Q to gap close is not necessary, saving it for the extra crit damage and auto reset in melee range can be a big deal in close scenarios. Talon's W is called Rake. Talon sends out a volley of daggers in a cone in the target direction, dealing physical damage to all enemies in their path. Once they reach max range, the daggers hang out for a second before flying back to Talon, dealing another round of physical damage to all enemies hit and slowing them for 1 second. Rake does bonus damage against monsters and is by far Talon's highest DPS spell in fights and while clearing the jungle. It's also crucial to try and land both the first and second pass of your W, not only for the damage, but for the 2 stacks this gives for your passive. If you land both passes of W plus Q, you can proc the bleed, dealing massive burst damage against any target. Talon's E is called Assassin's Path. Talon dashes over the target structure or piece of terrain, traveling up to 800 units, during which he gains vision of the surrounding area. Once you dash over a specific wall, it will be placed on a massive cooldown, meaning you must choose your path wisely. How fast Talon jumps depends on his movement speed. This ability is an extremely powerful map movement tool that allows Talon to take creative paths for ganks, assassinations out of vision, or even to escape from danger. Keep in mind that Talon can dash over player-generated terrain such as a Nivea wall or Jarvan ult, can't use E when grounded by Cassiopeia W, and gets interrupted by Poppy's W. Talon's ultimate is called Shadow Assault. Talon shoots out a ring of blades around him, dealing physical damage to nearby enemies, gaining invisibility and movement speed for up to 2.5 seconds. Shadow Assault can be recast after 1 second within the duration, and does so automatically after the duration or if Talon emerges from invisibility. When recasted, Talon ends Shadow Assault, breaking out of invisibility and converging the blades to his location, dealing physical damage again to all enemies they pass through. If you break the invisibility with a basic attack or with Q, the blades converge on that target instead. This is an extremely powerful tool that has many different uses. It deals a ton of burst damage, provides outplay potential with the stealth, and can be used as an escape or gap closer with the bonus movement speed. The key to using this ability to its maximum potential is understanding how to use it correctly depending on the current situation. Positioning yourself to deal damage with your blades with both casts is crucial to assassinate targets or to deal big AoE damage in team fights. For ability maxing, W first, Q second, and E third is the standard skill order in all elos and is definitely the most optimal setup. Runes. Now that we've broken down Talon's abilities, let's discuss his best rune choices for Season 11 in the jungle. First off, and in my opinion, the most consistent keystone option by far is Conqueror. Although Talon is historically an assassin, Conqueror's consistent damage and sustain works amazingly with his new jungle playstyle and semi-bruiser build. To close out the precision tree, Triumph and either Legend Alacrity for more DPS, or Legend Tenacity versus heavy CC teams. Coup de Grace is the best option to squishy teams for the extra execute damage, while Last Stand is better in games with more frontliners since you can sustain up more when you're low and extend fights for even longer. For secondary, by far the most common choice is the Inspiration Tree, where Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight are the go-to choices. Magical Footwear is great to get some free boots, especially since Talon likes to get involved in a lot of action early. Cosmic Insight is an all-around solid rune, used by almost every high elo player on multiple different champs. Domination secondary with Eyeball Collection and either Ravenous or Relentless Hunter is another viable option as well, if you're looking for more direct stats such as damage, map mobility, or sustain. Now if you're against a very squishy team comp and are looking to act as an assassin, Electrocute and Dark Harvest are both solid options as well. Although I think Conqueror is the better choice overall, one-shot Assassin Talon is definitely still viable in the right situation. Electrocute is about pure burst damage in the early to mid game, or Dark Harvest is a better scaling option if you can pick up multiple stacks. For rune shards, double Adaptive Force or attack speed and Adaptive Force is going to be the standard, with either armor or magic resist depending on your jungle matchup and enemy team comp. Items. Now let's discuss the best current item builds for Talon jungle. To start, both red and blue smite are viable options depending on the game. Red smite is the most common since the extra dueling potential and burn damage allow Talon to really shine in 1v1s. Blue smite can be strong as well into squishier mobile teams for the extra utility. For boots, Ionian Boots of Lucidity are going to be the overall best choice for most games. If you're in need of some defensive stats, Plated Steel Caps into heavy auto attack based teams, and Merc Treads against heavy CC are going to be your main options. Now for mythics, Gore Drinker is by far the best current option. The item is just pretty OP to be honest, and building it on Talon allows him to still deal massive damage while also getting some tankiness, healing, and CDR. All of these work amazingly with this kit. If the enemy team is full squishy and you're running the Electrocute or Dark Harvest setups, Prowler's Claw and Eclipse are viable options as well, so definitely keep these in mind. For core items, Youmuu's Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, and Cyrilda's Grudge are going to be your main options. Youmuu's is all around strong for extra burst and mobility that could even be rushed first item in some cases. Black Cleaver is great for the armor shred and CDR, and Cyrilda's Grudge is very strong for armor pen into tankier teams. To close out your build, you're looking to pick up a mixture of damage, utility, and resistances based on the enemy team. Once Talon gets a couple of items, he can not only threaten to one-shot the squishies, but also tank up damage in teamfights to be a huge nuisance. Talon's got a lot of item build options, and switching up your playstyle based on your build is a skill that will come with time, but will greatly increase the success you have on the champ. Jungle clears. Now let's get right into Talon's general jungle playstyle and pathing. First off is knowing when to take Flash versus Ignite. This usually depends on team comp and jungle matchup. Ignite is a great tool that allows Talon to dominate 1v1s, especially against champions who want to brawl to the death and rely on sustain to win. Great examples are Olaf and Xin Zhao, who will really second guess jumping on you with the extra Ignite dueling power. With that being said, Flash is still great in most games, especially if the enemy team is very mobile and can kite you out. Now for jungle clears, Talon actually has a ton of different options depending on the jungle matchup and team comps. First and most common is the 5 camp clear into Scuttle, or full clear into Scuttle. Both these routes are passive options that allow you to farm up, get level 4, and then begin making plays. Although Talon has great dueling power, his farming is also very solid. If you're planning on doing this path, putting a second point into W at level 3 is optimal to speed up your clear, since having E will not help with your clear speed at all. Now if the enemy team has a weak early game jungler who can be punished, or lanes who are overextended, taking a 3 or 4 camp gank or invade path is definitely a viable option as well. I usually recommend thinking about this in the loading screen or champ select to make sure you don't waste any time with useless aggression. As mentioned before, Talon is a surprisingly good farming jungler, and sometimes just clearing if there are no opportunities is a perfectly fine choice. If you do decide to gank or invade, make sure to remember that your W only slows on the way back, so sometimes saving it until the right moment to land the slow is crucial to pull off a kill. Another tip is to create a mental note of which walls you've recently hopped over. This will come in handy when you make a play happen and know exactly where you need to path towards to escape. I've seen too many new Talon players jump over every wall at every chance they get and leave themselves no get out of jail free card since all your wall jumps would be on cooldown. Weaknesses. Talon's biggest weakness is that he does not have any form of utility, meaning that when you fall behind, you can quickly become very useless. Although this goes for most assassins, Talon is even more vulnerable when behind since his main mobility tool requires terrain and map control. To build on this, Talon also struggles heavily into teams with a lot of peel and crowd control. Examples of champions to avoid dealing with are Thresh, Janna, and Lulu. These champions can CC you, protect their allies, and in general just make you have a miserable time. This can be avoided by either not picking Talon into these types of team comps, or to play around other win conditions in the game. And finally, Talon can also get countered by fed bruiser champions such as Jax, Camille, and Aurelia, who are not squishy enough to get bursted and who can out-sustain you in fights. Taking straight up 1v1s against these champions is not advised. It's usually best to wait for allies to follow up and take down a fed bruiser. Strengths. Now let's discuss what makes Talon such a dangerous threat in the jungle. First off is how he has massive carry potential when in the right hands. Talon not only deals a ton of single target damage, but also tons of AoE in teamfights as well. Trying to hit a multi-man ultimate and W is a crucial part of having success in mid to late game fights. A good Talon player will make use of his powerful 1v1s against winning matchups and know when to stick to team fights as well. Next is that Talon has amazing map movement with his E and can really dominate an entire game if played correctly. This ability alone allows Talon to take creative paths extremely quickly, pulling off surprise ganks, assassinations, or even escaping from danger. Almost no other champion can do this, and playing against a competent player who uses this to its maximum ability is a massive pain to deal with. Talon is also, all things considered, pretty flexible with his build and playstyle. The Gore Drinker build allows him to really shine in the bruiser heavy meta, while also still acting as an assassin when needed. He can build a bit tankier for teamfighting, or full damage to shut down crucial enemy carries, really allowing you to build depending on what you need in that specific game. And finally, Talon is actually pretty easy to pick up and play at a solid level, but still has a very high skill ceiling if you want to put the time into learning him at a high level. This means he's both a great pick for new players and for people looking to go in depth learning the ins and outs of the champ. Talon is a mobile assassin that can change up his playstyle and build on the fly. He can duel, teamfight, roam, and has massive outplay potential. If you're looking for an assassin jungler who can snowball out of control with ease, Talon is definitely the pick for you. That will do it for my in-depth guide on Talon Jungle. If you want to support my content, make sure you subscribe to my channel for future uploads. Most people who watch are not subscribed to the channel, and any extra support I can get really helps. If you have any questions or opinions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I'll be giving away free coaching sessions every month to members of the Discord, so be sure to click the link in the description if you're interested. With all that being said, thanks again for watching. Until the next video, peace out.